What's good, beautiful people? This is your guy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Always grateful to be here with you guys for another dose of Chalk It Up Sports Daily that's coming at you Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't forget it. I'm coming at y'all daily at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. The content is only going to get better. It's only going to get more spicy as the off season progresses and as we get closer to Philadelphia Eagles season. Unfortunately, our Philadelphia 76ers were not able to complete the comeback against the Miami Heat, and they ended up falling in that series 4-2, and they got smacked last night. Let's just call it what it is. There's so much to get into about the Philadelphia 76ers and their upcoming off season. There's so much to talk about with the Philadelphia Eagles. But before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that like button. It really helps the content grow. It really helps me grow. Without you guys, the content doesn't move forward. And the more you guys support this content, it just shows just how far I've come. And the love is always felt, you guys. We got some people on the live stream already. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Also, make yourself known. Say hi. Drop a thumbs up. Drop a check mark. Drop a middle finger. Whatever you got to do. If you hate me, you hate me. If you love me, you love me. I'm with all the smoke, and I'll take it all. Because when there's smoke, there's fire. And y'all know I'm bringing that heat. So, you guys, let's get into the Sixers first, because I think that's the hottest news of the past 24 hours, right? Now, the Philadelphia 76ers, this season in and of itself didn't really begin the way we anticipated. You think about how everything transpired with Ben Simmons, all the shenanigans that he brought to the table, how things ended in last year's playoffs and the entire offseason and all the drama between Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Doc Rivers, teammates. There was so much going on outside of basketball, outside the lines, that it complicated things on the court. And Ben Simmons made it clear that he wasn't going to appear for any games. He wasn't going to show up for this team in any way possible. And the Sixers penalized him for that. And now he's trying to earn $20 million back, or at least grieve for $20 million that he think he's owed from the Philadelphia 76ers. But I digress. The Philadelphia 76ers had a very tumultuous season. And we ended up trading for James Harden and got rid of Ben Simmons. And we thought bringing in James Harden will push this team over the hump, because he would do all the things that we wanted Ben Simmons to do, and that's shoot more than just play make. Now, moving on from Ben Simmons, we did sacrifice defense. That was a fact. We sacrificed perimeter defense. But at the end of the day, this team was built how they were constructed. And there's no reason why we shouldn't have got out of the second round this year. You had Joel Embiid, you had James Harden, you had an up-and-coming Tyrese Maxey, you had Tobias Harris, you had Matisse Thybulle. Now we did sacrifice some things on the bench. That was a fact. We lost Steph Curry. We lost Andre Drummond. It is what it is. But the season comes to a bitter end, and we need to ask ourselves what went wrong, not just throughout the season, but what went wrong in the playoffs. What went wrong between these teams and the teammates, and what went wrong, from a front office perspective. And one of the first things I think about that went wrong was the lack of effort and hustle. This has been a narrative that's plagued this team all throughout the season. Where's the energy? Where's the hustle? Where's the intensity going? Where's the intensity crashing the boards? Where's the intensity for loose balls? Where is the overall desire to win? And through that lack of effort and hustle, it created inconsistencies. It created a lot of confusion, not just amongst the team, but amongst the fans, because the fans had no idea what Sixers team we would get. Let's think about it. We had absolutely no Sixers team. We had no idea what kind of Sixers team we would get on a given night. Can any of you guys say on any given night that you went into a game fully confident? A lot of fan bases do have that luxury of entering any game, anybody they play, they're fully confident in their team. The Milwaukee Bucks, their fan base, when that team enters an arena, the fans are supremely confident in their team. The Golden State Warriors, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Boston Celtics, even the Miami Heat. There are teams in this league right now that have inflappable confidence, and it permeates every game. Now, you can't win every game, right? That's the reality. But you know what you're going to get from those teams. For example, from Boston, you're going to get tough defense. You're going to get amazing perimeter play from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. When it comes to the Golden State Warriors, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of ball movement. You're going to get a lot of off-ball movement. You're going to get a lot of off-ball screens. You're going to get a lot of perimeter scoring. You know what you're going to get. They know their identity. And I felt like the Philadelphia 76ers really didn't have an identity. And I believe that's where we were wrong throughout the playoffs. That's where we were wrong as the season progressed. Now, yes, Joel Embiid was an MVP candidate, and Joel Embiid is our superstar. He is the face of our franchise. But our identity can't be live and die by Joel Embiid. That's not an identity. And it's not an identity to live and die by James Harden either. That's not an identity. What was the Philadelphia 76ers identity? Can anybody in the chat define what it was? If I had to define our identity in one word, it would be duplicitous. This Philadelphia 76ers team was duplicitous all season. And what I mean by that is they were two-faced. They were Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They were docile and then aggressive. There was never no middle ground with this team. This team didn't have an identity, if you ask me. I love Joel Embiid to death, and he leads by example. But is he a vocal leader? I don't know. I honestly don't know. This team lacked intensity. They lacked accountability, in my humble opinion. Now, Joel Embiid doesn't strike me as someone to check somebody in the locker room. He doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. Neither does James Harden. And they're our best players, so to speak. So when you have stars who don't really want to rock the boat, who don't really want to be the guy, who just want to lead by example, okay, that's fine. But you need to surround them with guys who aren't afraid to put that fire under you. And the same thing goes for role players. See, this team, you know what the Philadelphia 76ers lacked? They lacked a bona fide glue guy. Really think about it. This team lacked a glue guy. Someone who's going to make sure the team stays together. And the glue guy is not usually the best player. It's not always the best player. The glue guy can be someone who may not even get the most minutes, but he holds everyone accountable. He pumps everyone up. He makes sure the energy is always high. The problem was this team emotionally relied solely on Joel Embiid. And that is not a way to go. You see what makes Jimmy Butler so great? You want to know why Jimmy Butler is so great? You want to know what makes Jimmy Butler so talented in this NBA? And it's not even just because of what he does on the court. It's not even just because of his play. It's because of who he is, what he stands for. He walks with a certain level of accountability. He's going to hold guys to the fire. And I'm going to be honest with you. When he said Tobias Harris over me, I almost lost it. Because I'm like, I asked the same question. Really? Tobias Harris over him? But was that really the narrative? We don't really know what really went wrong with Jimmy Butler and the Philadelphia 76ers. We don't know the real details. We know what we've heard, but we don't know what really happened. And by him saying that, did the Philadelphia 76ers really choose Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler? Did they choose Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler? Because the story was Jimmy Butler already had his eyes on Miami. And the conversation was really more so Ben Simmons or Jimmy Butler. The word was Ben Simmons wanted Jimmy Butler out the building. That was the rumor. But now Jimmy Butler has opened up another can of worms. Did this team have an opportunity to sign Jimmy Butler, but they decided to go with Tobias Harris? Is that what they did? Because if that's the case, shame on them. Shame. I want to get some shout outs real quick. Shout out to my man, Wilts Duncan. Shout out to Kylie 3 Eyes on Twitter. What's going on? Kylie 3 Eyes. Shout out to Carl Hines Schneider, Anthony Dwayne. What's going on, you guys? Thank you for being a part of the live stream. Make sure you guys smash that like button. It really helps. This Philadelphia 76ers team embarrassed themselves. They embarrassed themselves. And I know it's really easy to put this on Doc, and Doc is not exempt from any of the smoke. We're going to talk about Doc Rivers. But Doc Rivers was begging his guys for energy last night. Some people say he was showing off for the mic'd up camera moments. Some people were saying, where was his X's and O's? We all know in the mic'd up moments, they don't show X's and O's. They don't show that kind of stuff. They only show, basic conversations about intensity and effort and rebounding, obvious stuff. But it's really, really interesting to see how this stuff panned out. And look, Joel Embiid had a lot of injuries. He was battling. He tried. It is what it is. I'm not going to get on his back about the injuries. He was dealing with what he was dealing with. But we can't get over what we didn't see from James Harden. James Harden was a disappointment in terms of this trade. We were teased in the first few games thinking that, we found a guy. We saw this team playing the way we never saw him play before. And then somehow, some way, James Harden just continued to regress. Does James Harden have his legs anymore? I'll be honest with you guys. Watching James Harden drive to the cup was almost depressing every single time because I never seen someone flagrantly try to beg for fouls. Every time James Harden drove to the basket, hands going up. Where's the foul? Bro, get back on defense. It's beyond me. But like I said, what went wrong? Lack of effort and hustle, which created inconsistencies. We lacked bench depth. We did. We lacked depth. We lacked guys that were reliable off the bench. But let's be totally honest. If Doc Rivers would have gave his young guys more minutes to play early on, maybe they would have been more prepared for this situation. Doc Rivers deserves some culpability because he didn't build a strong enough bench. He didn't prepare his young guys well enough for this series or for the playoffs in general. You threw a guy like Paul Reed in there expecting him to make lemons out of limes. Come on. They need more reps in the early season where the games don't matter as much. Your young guys should be getting a lot of tick. The first half of the season where you testing out lineups and getting guys minutes. There's no reason Paul Reed and Isaiah Joe should not be getting minutes early on in the season. Those guys probably would have been better off once the playoffs started. But now you're throwing them in there. Now you're asking those guys to just step up out of nowhere. That's not right. It's not right. And like I said to you guys before, this team was duplicitous. They never was the same team on any given night. Almost every other night, we're asking ourselves, who is this team? This is not who they was before. Like, what is up with these boneheaded plays? The Philadelphia 76ers are a team that lacks discipline. Let's call that what it is, too. They lack discipline. Unforced errors and completely just doing anything with the ball, and everybody always getting caught ball watching, so mesmerized by what Joel Embiid or what James Harden doing with the ball. Move. Cut. Roll to the basket. Do something. You can't continue to watch guys. You gotta make something happen. Who wanted to step up? Tobias didn't want to step up. Tyrese Maxey is a young guy. Only so much you could ask of him. But still, we saw what you was capable of, Tyrese. Get to the rim. The Philadelphia 76ers was trying so hard to be the Golden State Warriors and shoot the ball all the time from deep, but they're missing one of the biggest components of playing that style of basketball. Your players have to move around. They have to keep defenses off balance. This is unfortunate. If you guys just entering the live stream, make sure you guys smash that like button. I really appreciate all the love and support. I'm your humble host, DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. We are currently discussing the unfortunate mishaps that plagued the Philadelphia 76ers season. This Philadelphia 76ers team has been perennial second-round losers. Perennial second-round losers. Think about it. 3, 4, 5 years in a row, we either got knocked out in the second round or the first round. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable when you have arguably the best player in the world in Joel Embiid. Top 5, most definitely. James Harden. What does he have left? Tobias Harris. Where are you when we need you? Nothing, not a takeover gene in his body. Just a disappointment year after year after year. You know what? If we made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, I wouldn't be mad if we lost. It'd be sad because I'm like, damn, we was that close to the finals. But we can't even get past the second round. It's almost like we're cursed or something. We're cursed. Like who wanted to step up? Like I said, this team lacked glue guys. And this is my perspective, right? Everyone may have their own breakdowns of how they saw this play out. But me personally, I felt like this team lacked the necessary veteran leadership. They lacked the necessary fire in the locker room. It seemed like everybody always looked for Joel Embiid to save them. He's a center. I don't mean no harm, but he's a center. Your center can't be your center could probably be your most talented player on the court, but he can't be your primary ball handler. He can't be the one to shoot the game-winning shot all the time. He's a center. Centers don't really create their own shots. Like, come on. I know it's easy to go at Joel Embiid, right? And he deserves some blame for sure. But at the same time, when you're relying on a center to be your end-all be-all, you can't win like that. You just can't. Even Tim Duncan had freaking David Robinson and Manu Ginobili. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if James Harden is the answer. I really don't. And it would suck to move on from him, knowing what we gave up. So bringing him back won't hurt us. We just need to add more. We need to add more. And here's what I think must change. We need more shooting, period. We need more shooting. And I don't mean small guards. I mean wing shooting. Perimeter, like guys that are 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", that can shoot. This team needs more length, and they need better shooting. They need guys that aren't afraid to speak up, aren't afraid to call out the superstar. Did y'all see Joel Embiid's body language when he entered the arena? He seemed like he already lost the game before he got there. He seemed like he already lost the game when he got there. Anthony Dwayne, you're so absolutely right. Great point. Great dominant big men who won championships played with great guards. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson. Come on. Think about it. If you got a dominant big man, he need a dominant wing or a guard. James Harden was supposed to be that dominant guard, but James Harden, he's not a max player anymore. He's not a max player anymore. It's over for that. It's over. James Harden better not get the max. If he don't see that he don't deserve a max contract, we got a problem. Harden in his post-game press conference, he indicated that I'll be here next season. Okay, you'll be here, but not on the max contract. You won't. Not at all, my boy. Not at all. Like, it can't be about the money this time. It can't be about the money right now. It just can't. Do you want to win, or do you want to just keep padding your pockets? Make up your mind, James, because you're not a max player anymore. It's over for that now. It's over. Maybe you can give up that 30, maybe you can give us that 30-point barrage maybe every 10 games or so. But James Harden, at best, is a 20-10 player. At best, he's a 20-10 guy. At best. That man only put up 11 points last night. He only shot the ball, 13 times? He only shot the ball 9 times. 11 points. Is he serious? 9 rebounds. Is he serious? He can't be. This is a closeout game, my brother. You're shooting the ball 9 times. Even Maxey wasn't afraid to pull the trigger. Like, James, we can't win with you only shooting the ball 9 times. It doesn't work that way. You want to be a max player, it's over for you. You're not a max player anymore. It's a done bun. Harden and Simmons are not the same, South Tex. I'm sorry. They're not the same. They're not the same. I don't mean his career is done. I'm talking about being a max player. He's not a max player anymore, Chris. He's due for a max contract. He better not get it here. I'm telling you that right now. He better not get it. He's not. Harden and Ben Simmons, South Tex, are not the same. They're not the same. Believe it or not, I still take my chances with James Harden and Ben Simmons. Chris R says, do we have the option of not keeping him, or is it just his option? So he didn't. So when we traded for him, he didn't pick up his option in time. He missed the deadline. So technically, after this year, technically he's a free agent, but he says he's going to be back. Technically, he is a free agent right now, but he said he will be back. Anthony Dwayne says, ever since that rule change that prevented James Harden from getting to the line, he hasn't been the same. He definitely has had to reinvent his game because of that. You're right. He was taking advantage of the rules, and now he's been having to reinvent his game. This is going to be an important offseason for everybody involved. Carl, he says, I also love how Harden and the presser said, I passed the ball and never got it back. Really? Really? Maybe because you wasn't going to shoot it anyway. Like, look, man, I look at it like this, you guys. The Philadelphia 76ers are going to always be in the conversation, right? But are we ready to win a championship? Hell no. Because we can't get out of our own way. We can't. Doc Rivers, his future is currently in doubt. And I think he was talking to Howard Eskin, and he got ripped. And Doc Rivers was pretty much like, look, I'm happy with how my team played and so on and so forth. And, you know, if you think my job is in jeopardy, or if you think I should be concerned, write that, print it, whatever. Like, he's dying on the hill that he's not concerned about his job. Doc Rivers won't be here next year. He won't be here next season. He just won't. And I really don't want Mike D'Antoni either. I don't want these recycled head coaches. I just don't. You know what, Anthony Dwayne? I question it too, Anthony. I question it too, because how does time and time again your guys come in underprepared, or they lack a certain fire, lack a certain energy. What pressure are you putting on your guys to perform? Like, this team is soft. They're soft. Let's call it what it is. This team is soft, flat out. And we're never going to championship without having real glue guys, having guys that's going to hold each other accountable regardless of how much they get paid, regardless of how many minutes they play, regardless of if they're a starter or not. Udonis Haslem for the Miami Heat. He don't get no minutes, but he's a glue guy. He keeps those guys in line. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy Butler, at the end of the game, he said he still wished that he and Embiid played together. But he loves Miami. And he said, Tobias Harris over me? Tobias Harris over me? I'm with him. I'm with him. I'm with him. You choose Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. You're going to get what you're going to get. I'm tired of choir boys. I'm tired of guys that don't make enough noise. Sometimes you need that swag, you need that juice, you need somebody with that velociraptor mentality. Guys is ready to take your head off. You need that kind of energy. But no, they wanted to bring in Tobias Harris because he'll be more palatable. He's a clean cut guy. He gives you energy. He gives you energy that you can manage. A personality that doesn't make too many waves. Come on, man. Come on. It's unacceptable how the Philadelphia 76ers went out. And even if we didn't win Game 6, right? I had zero confidence entering Game 7. Zero. You see, I like my players that got some adversity attached to them. I don't like guys that had silver spoons all their life. I respect guys that had to get it from the mud. You dig what I'm saying? Like, this team does need to overhaul, Anthony. You're so right. What's up, Rock? How you feeling? This team needs to overhaul. Make sure you guys hit that like button. This team needs to completely overhaul what they have. If I'm being honest with you, if your name isn't Joel Embiid, if your name isn't Tyrese Maxey, if your name isn't James Harden, you gotta go. You gotta bounce. You gotta bounce straight like that. If your name not Joel Embiid or Tyrese Maxey or James Harden, you gotta bounce. Tobias Harris, that contract needs to go. I'm gonna be honest with you. If Tobias Harris don't get traded this offseason, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. Tobias Harris, there's no reason he should be making the money he's making, and he's providing what he's providing. And the sad thing is, I'm not even one to count somebody's pockets. That's not even my MO. That's not even how I live. That's not even my mentality. But you got a guy like Tobias Harris, who's your fourth option at best, and he won't shoot the ball. He won't be aggressive. He won't drive to the basket. He always trying to pull somebody up. Anthony, anything's tradable. It's the NBA. Anything is tradable. You just gotta find the right sucker. Any contract is tradable. Call OKC, they'll take the contract. You're right, South Tex. The bench is weak. Rock says Embiid, Max, and Harden stay. Even Butler said we chose Harris over him. That's what I'm saying, man. It's unfortunate how the thing went down. So, yeah, like I said, what needs to change is we need more shooting. Embiid has to get healthy. Harden has to self-scout. And what I mean by that is Harden has to reevaluate how he approaches the game. He needs to get himself healthy as well. James Harden needs to understand what he can and can't do with this organization, with this team. James Harden needs to figure out more creative ways to score. My problem with James Harden's game is if it's not threes, it's layups that he's trying to get fouled on. If it's not layups, he's trying to get fouled on, it's threes. James Harden needs to develop a mid-range game. If James Harden is going to be this kind of player that doesn't really go downhill anymore, maybe he needs to develop a post game as well. You dig what I'm saying? James Harden needs to self-scout and figure out what are the flaws in his game right now and what's the best course of action to help this team win. He claims he's going to be back. We'll see how that pans out. Maxey. I'm going to give Maxey some love. For the simple fact that Maxey surprised all of us this season. Maxey had an amazing year. Maxey took his game to a whole nother level. And I really love his commitment to wanting to be great. I love his work ethic. I'm not going to sit here and rag on Tyrese Maxey. I'm just not, because he's a young guy. He leaning on these older guys to show him the way, and he did what he could. He dropped 20 on 9 of 20 shooting last night, or 9 of 22, whatever. It wasn't the most efficient, but he was trying. He was aggressive. He was shooting the ball. I'm really optimistic about Tyrese Maxey's future with this team. I think Tyrese Maxey has a chance to be a top 10 guard in this NBA. He does. He has a legit opportunity to become a top 10 guard in this NBA, an all-star caliber player for sure. Anthony says, I've been saying this, his game is way too predictable, talking about James Harden. And South Tech says, I hate to say it, but Harden is too far gone. He trying to get a bag. He too old to change, brother. Harden going to be 37. Old dogs don't do new tricks. Harden is not 37, bro. James Harden is 32 years old. He'll be 33. Come on, South Tex. If you're gonna make a point, at least be accurate. He'll be 33. But Tyrese Maxey, I loved everything he brought to the table this season. Tyrese Maxey was spectacular. Tyrese Maxey was a breath of fresh air. Tyrese Maxey was like the closest thing we've seen in our building since like Drew Holiday or AI. You get what I'm saying? Like the way Tyrese Maxey got to the rim, his creativity at the rim, his layup package, his transition offense. He was the closest thing we've seen to like Drew Holiday, when we had him young, or AI. And I'm not saying Tyrese Maxey is AI. I'm not saying that at all. But just having that guard play. We haven't had great guard play in a long time. We just haven't. And I just love what Tyrese Maxey brings to the table. He's going to take his game to another level like I already anticipate. He already took his shooting to another level. I expect Tyrese Maxey to be an even more consistent shooter. I think if he has to improve on anything, he needs to get better defensively. And he could definitely get stronger. He can get stronger. You know what I mean? He needs to get stronger. Anthony, yeah, we had Drew Holiday. We drafted him. We had Drew Holiday for what, like 3 or 4 years, something like that, and then we traded him because we traded him right after he became an all-star. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. At that point, we started tanking. But yeah, you guys, the season is over. It was fun while it lasted, and all we can do is just hold our heads up high and be pissed off. Seriously, though, you guys deserve to be pissed. You do. We got 10 people in the live stream. Make sure you guys smash that like button. I really appreciate y'all for hopping in. South Tech says y'all had a bunch of good players. Y'all gave up too early on. Well, we only gave up. If you're talking about this season, we only gave up Steph Curry and Andre Drummond. And then you gave up some first-round picks. But first-round picks, the way the Sixers are, those first-round picks are going to be – they're not going to be lottery picks at all. But overall, though, I think James Harden Sure, that was the sexy trade, but it begs the question: was he the right trade? Was James Harden the right player for us at this moment? Because I would have been really happy if we got CJ McCollum. I think that's a better fit, and you probably would have got more bang for your buck. Oh, okay, you talking about recent history? Got you, soft text. Yeah, we did, but I mean, let's think about it. Jello Okafor, never impressed me. Nerlens Noel, never impressed me. Michael Carter Williams, never impressed me. The only person that I really was pissed off that we got rid of was Drew Holiday. I really was angry when we got rid of Drew Holiday. That was one of the most blatant forms of tanking in my life. And this Sixers team got a long way to go, if you ask me. Now, Daryl Morey is a wheeler and dealer. If it's anybody I trust, if it's anybody I trust to put some pieces around Joel Embiid and James Harden, I trust Daryl Morey. Anthony says James Harden was not my first choice. He wasn't my first choice either, but he became a Sixer, so I'm gonna support him. Anthony also says I think CJ would have been a better fit too, and he's from the area. I think CJ would have fit perfectly with his shooting, his shot creating ability, his ability to facilitate, and he's not making nowhere near as much, and you would have more flexibility, and you wouldn't have had to give up as much to get him. You probably could have still kept Seth Curry. You feel what I'm saying? It still bugs me to this day that we drafted Ben Simmons over Brandon Ingram. Can you imagine Brandon Ingram and Joel Embiid together? That'd be nasty. South Texas asks, which would you rather have? Sixers win an NBA title or another Super Bowl for the Eagles? That's a very good question. That's a very good question, South Texas, because I have yet to see the Sixers win a championship in my lifetime. I've seen the Eagles win one in my lifetime. But if I'm being honest, it would please me more to see my Eagles win another Super Bowl. I'm a football fan first, if you haven't realized already. And if my Eagles win another Super Bowl, that'd be awesome. That's the goal anyway, right? And the team is talented enough, right? Let's ask the chat though, South Tex. Which would you guys rather have? A Sixers NBA title or another Super Bowl for the Eagles? Which would you guys rather have? Rock the Artist says Super Bowl for the Eagles. Yeah. Anthony says Super Bowl. Appreciate you, South Tex. Thank you. And I agree, man. A Super Bowl would mean so much more to this city than an NBA title. Listen, I ain't gonna lie to you. I would sacrifice 10 years of losing for 5 Super Bowls. That's how much I love my Eagles more than the Sixers. I would sacrifice 10 years of cold-hearted losing for the Sixers for 5 Super Bowl wins for the Philadelphia Eagles. You dig what I'm saying? Maybe some of y'all call me crazy. I would sell the Philadelphia 76ers souls for 5 Super Bowl wins. I'll take that. But overall, the Sixers, they are what they are, and we're going to see what happens, because the offseason is where the magic really happens. And I'm going to be really curious. I'm really curious to see how Daryl Morey approaches this coming offseason. I'm really curious to see how that pans out. But let's talk about these Philadelphia Eagles, because the schedule got released yesterday. Oh my goodness, you guys. The schedule is officially out, and I'm excited. And let's call it what it is, you guys. This might be one of the most favorable schedules the Philadelphia Eagles can have. There's no schedule more favorable than this. You got the Detroit Lions on the road. You got the Vikings at home. Then you got Washington on the road. Then you got the Jags at home. Then you got the Cardinals on the road. Then you got the Cowboys at home. Then you got a bye. Then you got Pittsburgh at home. Then you got the Texans on the road, Washington at home, the Colts on the road, Green Bay at home, Titans at home, Giants on the road, Bears on the road, Cowboys on the road, Saints at home, Giants at home. Our hardest games are at home, and I would much rather have that. I see 11 wins minimum on this schedule. Now, any combination, you never know. We might beat the Titans. We might beat the Colts or the Packers. But I see 11 wins minimum. Anthony, great point. We only play one elite quarterback. That's all. We play one. And that's Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers is devoid of weapons. You think Sammy Watkins is going to save him? No. I trust Aaron Rodgers to do Aaron Rodgers things, but does he trust his wide receivers? That's going to be a big question. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback we play. And then after Aaron Rodgers, you can make an argument for it being Dak Prescott or Matt Ryan, and then Kyler Murray and Kirk Cousins. After that, man, we don't play any elite guys. Every quarterback after Aaron Rodgers we play, they're all average to slightly above average quarterbacks, if you ask me. Like 11 games minimum, 12 games for sure. I think we can win 12 games. Because let's think about it like this. Detroit Lions, that should be a dub. I think the Vikings are going to push us, but that's going to be a dub. I think we beat Washington on the road. I think we beat the Jags at home. We might lose to the Cardinals. And I don't see why we can't beat the Cowboys at home. So before the bye, I'm already pegging us at 5-1. Before the bye, I'm already saying we could be 5-1. Anthony Dwayne says we only play one elite quarterback. It's a fact. South Tech says, to be honest, I love Dak, but man, I don't know if he could pull it off. Michi says, to be honest, I see 12 wins. South Tech doesn't trust Dan Quinn. Well, I'm sorry, he doesn't trust the coaching staff other than Dan Quinn. Excuse me. Michi says we can beat Arizona, no D-Hop. That's a very good point, Michi. You might be onto something. Can the Eagles start the season off 6-0? Let me ask you this question. Can the Eagles start the season off 6-0? If not, what's our record before the bye? Remember, our bye is in week 7. So what do you guys anticipate the Philadelphia Eagles doing prior to the bye? 6 games. The Eagles can definitely go 4-2, 5-1 before the bye, most definitely. I'll be happy if we're 4-2 or 5-1 before the bye. Shoot, we 6-0. That's crazy. It's possible. Now, granted, teams have gotten better. You know, the Jaguars have gotten better. Detroit has gotten better. Minnesota has a new coach. The Jags have a new coach in Doug Peterson, but I trust him. Arizona, D-Hop is going to be suspended. Dallas got a little worse. But if I see us losing any game, it's either going to be that Cardinals game or that Cowboys game. I'm with you on that, Anthony Dwayne. I actually agree with you on that. If we lose any one of those games, it's going to be either the Cardinals or the Cowboys game. That's my assertion. But then after the bye, you have Pittsburgh, Texans, Washington. That stretch is not complicated by any stretch of the imagination. But this is where things get a little hairy. You got the Colts, Packers, Titans, and then you got 3 road games in a row. That's the toughest stretch of the season because you have 4 road games in 6 weeks. But overall, I think we match up pretty well with our opponents. Michi says, to be honest, we can take advantage of the Cardinals. To be honest, their defense ain't really that special. You're right. Here's the thing about the Philadelphia Eagles, though. No one's going to know how to plan for this. We've gotten so much better in different areas. This Philadelphia Eagles team is going to be dangerous. They're going to be dangerous. And I think we have, 5 primetime games or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to definitely see how this thing shakes out for sure. But I'm super excited about this schedule. Jalen Hurts has everything in front of him. Jalen Hurts is in control of his destiny. He's in full control of it. And if he doesn't take advantage of this opportunity, I don't know what else he can do. I just don't know. Jalen Hurts has everything in front of him. This is his opportunity to really take a stranglehold of this quarterback position. This is his opportunity. Anthony says the element of surprise. I love it. Yeah, man. There's nothing better than rabbit punching somebody. They don't see it coming at all. At all. But man, training camp is approaching. Things are starting to heat up in training camp. And we still have yet to figure out how we're going to fix that cornerback position and that safety position. Those are currently our two most glaring weaknesses on our football team. The cornerback position and, the defensive back room, period. Our defensive backs are the weakest part of our team. Anthony says, I think Jalen Hurts throws for close to 4,000 yards. Yeah, for me personally, he needs to teeter between that 38 to 40, 100 range. If Jalen Hurts can give me 38 to 4,100 passing yards, I can live with it. South Tex asks, were you a big Wentz guy when he was your starter? I was. I was. And I gave Carson Wentz a lot of praise, a lot of breaks in this city. I fell on a lot of swords because of Carson Wentz. You know what I'm saying? I defended him to the bitter end. But once he left this organization, oh yeah, it's open season. I'm not going to fraud. I was a big Carson Wentz supporter, but I wasn't blind to the BS. I wasn't blind to the nonsense. I'll tell you that much. But where was I? Yes, training camp. I kind of like what Howie Roseman is doing with the DB room, and I'm gonna tell you why. I know a lot of people want us to go after James Bradbury or Chuck Clark, right? I know a lot of people want us to try to get a veteran in the DB room. But we have Anthony Harris, who's a veteran. We have Darius Slay, who's a veteran. What we need is a young guy who's ready and willing to knock guys around. And honestly, I love the competition that's brewing in the cornerback room in particular. I love the competition that's brewing amongst the DBs. Let's be totally honest. In the DB room, we have, and this is young guys I'm talking about. I ain't talking about Darius Slay. I ain't talking about Devonta Maddox. I ain't talking about Anthony Harris. If your name is not Darius Slay, Devonta Maddox, or Anthony Harris, your spot is not safe. But you think about guys like Kerry Vincent Jr. You think about Zach McPherson, Tate Gowan, Mac McCain, Josiah Scott, Craig James. We brought in Mario Goodrich. We brought in Josh Blackwell, Josh Jobe. You think about Kevon Wallace, Marcus Epps. We brought in Reed Blankenship. You think about Andre Chachary. You think about Jared Maiden. There's a lot of competition in that DB room, and there's only 2 starting spots. The safety position next to Anthony Harris and the cornerback position next to Darius Slay. We're going to really see the cream rise to the top. We're going to really see the talent bleed through because all those guys are hungry. Zach McPherson, Tate Gowan, Kerry Vincent Jr. I like Tate Gowan a lot. But overall, this is going to be really competitive this training camp. And I'm really curious to see who ends up being the starting cornerback for the Philadelphia Eagles, even the safety position, because Marcus Epps, I think Marcus Epps is going to end up being the starter, honestly. I think Marcus Epps is going to end up being the starter. I don't see the Philadelphia Eagles addressing both needs at cornerback and safety. I think if they do address one of them, it's going to be the cornerback position. And I think they trust Marcus Epps enough to allow him to play that safety position because he can actually play. You know, we've seen Marcus Epps in moments and he make big plays, you know, catch interceptions, so on and so forth. I actually like Marcus Epps. I wasn't high on him at first, but the more I watched the film, the more I kept up with him. I like what Marcus Epps brings to the table. I really do. Anthony says not knocking Carson Wentz, but I don't think he fit the Philadelphia culture. He never did. He never did. He's too emotionally fragile to fit our culture. South Tech says, if you think Wentz had this roster, what do you think y'all? What do you think your outcome would be, in your opinion? That's a very interesting question. Very interesting question. But I mean, he had a pretty good wide receiver core in Indianapolis. So I mean, you can make an argument for sure that Howie Roseman is doing more for Jalen Hurts than he ever has for Carson Wentz. That's a fact. You could definitely make an argument for that. He's done more for Jalen Hurts than he has done for Carson Wentz. If Carson Wentz had this roster, I don't know. Maybe win 10, 11 games. But my problem with Carson Wentz was never the talent. My problem with Carson Wentz was what he does in big moments. My problem with Carson Wentz was his inability to look within. You know, my problem with Carson Wentz was his lack of leadership, his lack of accountability, his mentality that kind of separated himself from other people. I didn't like who he was as a person, as a leader. It never was a talent issue with Carson Wentz. He struggles with winning the big game. He always plays hero ball. He doesn't trust his teammates enough for me. That's my problem with Carson Wentz. Michi says that cornerback 2 position, we can get away with that due to the front 7. Honestly, we can hide whoever playing cornerback 2. Well, we only can hide it, but for so long, we're gonna definitely see whoever gets put out there. They're gonna get tested early and often. We're definitely going to see how this thing pans out because whoever ends up being the starter at cornerback 2, they're going to get tested early and often. Teams are going to always try to shy away from Darius Slay's side of the field. They're going to try their hardest to attack the weak side. They're going to try their hardest to attack the weak side of our defense. They're going to always try to do that. But overall, I'm happy with my Eagles. Now both the Eagles and the Sixers are in their offseason. The Eagles clearly have a brighter future right now. And I'm just super excited to see how these guys pan out. And I love all the moves that Harry Roseman has made. I love the competition he's created amongst these defensive guys. On the offensive side of the ball, things are pretty much set in stone. But on the defensive side of the ball, things are really interesting because you got to think, can Nakobe Dean overtake TJ Edwards for that starting middle linebacker spot? You know what I'm saying? Can Davion Taylor prove that he's developed and can he compete with Kaiser White? I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see because at the end of the day, Kaiser White, he was brought in on a 1-year deal, a pretty expensive one at that. And TJ Edwards, this is a contract year for him. So Nakobe Dean, he has an opportunity to really beat out some of these guys. And you're going to see a lot of nickel sets. You're not going to really see a lot of base formations. I think the Eagles will play more 3-4 than anything, though. That lends itself to our strengths. But overall, though, Nakobe Dean, man, he's going to make TJ Edwards work. He's going to push Kaiser White. He's going to push all those guys to the brink. And I'm going to be really curious to see how it all pans out. But overall, man, I'm super grateful for you guys for being here. South Tech says that front 7 is nasty. I ain't gonna lie. Monroe Hatcher, what's going on? He said, "My man Tone, peace, fam. It made me cringe last night hearing Jimmy Butler finally opened up on how Elton Brand screwed him and how much he wanted to stay in Philly. Yeah, bro, it broke my heart too. It broke my heart too. It was honestly sad, and it just makes you wonder what if. It really makes you wonder what if. But you know these Eagles, man, they have a very, very crazy front 7. Let's think about it for a second. Let's just think about the starting front 7 real quick. Let's think about it. You got Brandon Graham, Well, no, I think Brandon Graham's going to be in a rotational situation. So let's just say this is our front seven right here, right? Let's just name it like this. You got Josh Sweat, Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave. Then you got Brandon Graham. You got Hassan Reddick, Nakobe Dean, Kazir White. That's crazy. That's going to be nasty. Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, Kazir White, and Nakobe Dean. I didn't even Hassan Reddick. I didn't even mention TJ Edwards. I didn't even mention Milton Williams or Jordan Davis or Teron Jackson, right? Or David Antil. Like, we got some young studs, man. It's a lot of talent. A lot of talent on this Eagles team. And I'm here for it. But you guys, that is today's show. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys continue to subscribe to the content and share the content. I'm always grateful. Oh, excuse me. Jeez, that was a strange ending. Let's try that one more time. I'm always grateful for you guys locking in on the content, and you guys just continue to show love, man. You know, I'm going to continue to try to give you guys this daily doses of content. I'm going to continue to stay, keep my foot on the gas, and I appreciate all the love and support as I always do. Like I always say, I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry.